Hey guys, with Halloween right around the corner, I thought I'd show you some horror games from all the way back to the 8-bit computers up to modern PC and console games. So, to get started, we're going to start with the early to mid 80 horror games that I played specifically on the Commodore 64. Hope you enjoy. First up is Forbidden Forest by Paul Norman and Cosme. It was released in 1983 and was one of the first games to feature animated blood. You basically are an archer and you have to travel through the forest destroying monsters, and after you destroy so many, at the end you get to face the Demogorgon. I've never made it, I don't think, to the Demogorgon. It's actually a really fun game. One thing you have to remember if you play the game is every time you shoot an arrow, you have to make sure you leave enough time to cock the arrow, because if not, this happens and you get eaten. In order, in Forbidden Forest, you face giant spiders, bees, mutated frogs, dragons, wizards, snakes, and the final enemy, which is the Demogorgon. Another funny thing about the game is at the end of each level you do a little dance to celebrate destroying the monsters for that level. There are also 4 levels of difficulty for the game. There is Innocent, Trooper, Daredevil, and Crazy. Basically, it determines the number of monsters you face and the speed of each monster. And here we have the giant bee. And here we have the mutated frogs. The final monster I'm going to show you is the dragon. For some reason, I played it multiple times, and this round I could just not get around him. He kept breathing fire on me and basically toasting me, which you'll see right here. A couple extra bonus death scenes. This is for the bee. And the next one is the mutated frogs, where I get splatted. Next up is the sequel, Beyond Forbidden Forest. This was released in 1985, and one change they made was that after each creature you basically get a golden arrow, and you collect the golden arrows to enter the cave to fight the Demogorgon, which is again the final boss. One really cool thing again about Beyond Forbidden Forest is this intro scene. I always liked it. I don't know what it was. It's very simple, but for some reason I kind of enjoyed watching it. Another really cool thing about the Forbidden Forest games are the actual music. It really sets the tone, I think, for these games. And again, the creatures you face in order are scorpions, worms, and mosquitoes, and once you finally get enough arrows to enter the cave, you face bats, hydra, and then the end boss, which is the Demogorgon. As you can tell, the graphics are a little bit better in this version, and one thing as you can see here, you can actually enter and exit the foreground, which is another added little attraction for this game. The little gray arrows on the side are how you aim. You hold the button down and it goes up and down, and that's the height as far as how you shoot the arrows. For some reason, I could not get anywhere in this game, so I'm only going to show you a couple creatures. First up is the scorpion. It doesn't take very long for it to eat meat. finally, here is the worm. One really interesting thing about these the two games is I really think they're pretty gruesome as far as the death scenes goes for its time. I mean, we're talking, you know, the early to mid 80s, and there's a lot of blood and a lot of violence in these games. One tip, never stand still when you face the worm. And the final game I'm going to show you is Transylvania, a text/graphic adventure that was released in 1982 for multiple systems. I originally played this on the Apple IIe computer in the mid-80s in high school. The computer teacher allowed us to do that when we finished our work, which is kind of nice. And I finally, as of last year, I played it on the Commodore 64, which is this version, and I was able to complete it, which is, I mean, very simple graphics, but I really enjoy it. Basically, the story is you're on a quest to rescue the Princess Sabrina. If you don't rescue her by dawn, she dies. There is a time limit on it. And there's some kind of interesting creatures that you can face in this game. I mean, there's a witch, there's a werewolf, a vampire, a prankster goblin, and even an alien spaceship. And here we have the werewolf. Basically, if you try to do any commands with him on the screen, you become dinner to him. Overall, it's actually a pretty nice game. It is very simple, unfortunately, but other than that, I really enjoy playing it. Well, guys, that's it for this episode. Come back in a few days, and I will have another episode up, which will probably be the 8-bit consoles.